Well, hello again. Earlier I spoke about the fig tree that Jesus cursed, and the fact that in in Luke there was another parable about the fig tree and how for 3 years the master or the owner, he was patient waiting for the fig tree to finally grow some figs on it, and he was ready to cut it down, but the other man interceded on behalf of the fig tree, and he asked him to let him work on it, and prepare it, tend to it, nurture it, give it one more year. And then if at the end of the year it was found to be bearing fruit and having figs on it, well then great. And if not, well then we'll cut it down. And to me that relates to also to our God and how he's patient with us and how Jesus intercedes for us. We've been placed here on this earth and given a life and a calling, a world to reach, so to speak. Whether that be the folks we come into contact with on a daily basis, or whether that be the pulpit, whatever that is, we have people within our reach that we can talk to and be an example for. I mean, whether we know it or not, people are watching. And so to kind of go into this, I just kind of feel like the parables are showing something, and maybe I've got it right, maybe I don't, maybe there's more to it than what I'm seeing, but uh, I'm going to look into this from the book of Luke in chapter 12, verses 35 all the way down through 48. And I'm going to try to extrapolate a little bit out of that along the same lines of we've been given something, and we're expected to bear fruit. And so in verse 35, he begins, and this is the NIV version, so bear with me. He starts out here, and I believe this is Jesus speaking, and he says, "Be dressed ready for service, and keep your lamps burning, like men waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them watching when he comes. I tell you the truth. He will dress himself to serve, will have them recline at the table, and will come and wait on them. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them ready, even if he comes in the second or third watch of the night. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect it." It's kind of like as kids, the folks, the parents, they went out of town or whatever, and they were going to be gone for a few days, and they left specific instructions, things that needed to be attended to, needed to be done while they were away, and we were of age of being accountable and responsible and understanding, so there was really no excuse why it wouldn't or shouldn't have gotten done. But being carnal, immature, young, whatever justification, interrupted my little video, so I'm going to try to pick up where I left off. As I was saying, folks are away, give you instructions, things to do, and in the back of your head you're thinking, well, I've got plenty of time before they get back. I want to do this and I want to do that and blah blah blah. And next thing you know, one thing leads to another. You kind of bit off more than you can chew. You've lost track of time, or what have you. Things got out of control, and all of a sudden, the hour has come. Folks come home, and you didn't do what you were being trusted to do, what you were being asked to do, what you had been instructed to do. And so now you're kind of in trouble. And hopefully they've got mercy, but that's what this is kind of talking about. He says, it says in verse 40, you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. So then Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager, whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their food allowance at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, he will put him in charge of all of his possessions. But suppose the servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming. And he then begins to beat the men servants and the maid servants, and to eat and to drink and to get drunk. Man, I can think of times when, we were young and rambunctious, and, parents away, it was party time, right? So the master of the servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the unbelievers. So Jesus here, he's not talking to the unbelievers. He's not talking to the ones that are ignorant of the Word of God, who haven't made a choice in their heart to not only believe on Jesus, but to be a follower of. He's talking to his disciples, the ones who spent, 3 years with him. And so in verse 47, it goes on, that servant who knows his master's will, and does not get ready or does not do what his master wants, will be beaten with many blows. So as Christians, we ought to know God's will. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. So even here, it's just staring out at me. The servant who knows what God's will is and doesn't do it will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. And he goes on to say in the final part of verse 48, from everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. So just like the parable that was given about the fig tree that had been given 3 years to finally grow some figs was in danger of being cut down, intercession came, and the tree was given a second chance. And it was a labor of love. I mean, it doesn't happen by itself. It takes a commitment to do what you say you're going to do. And so just like here in this parable, Luke 12:35 through 48, Peter asked a very straightforward question, and it seems like Jesus continues on answering him with more of a parable. And it just comes out of my face, you know. It's like we know the way, we know the truth, we know Jesus. What are we doing with that knowledge? What am I doing with that knowledge? And so he could come tomorrow. He could come 100 years from now. We don't know. But it says here, you must also be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect it. So, just like in the times of Noah, eating and drinking and marrying, are we ready? Are we ready every day? So let's not take what we've been given for granted. Let's be aware of his coming. We don't know when, but he's coming. And he's coming not to punish us necessarily, but he's coming to find us, to receive us, to take us with him. So let's be ready. Let's be ready to open the door. Let's be ready to welcome him. But anyway, feel free to comment. And thanks.